All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Card Talk. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tyler and Lou. And we have a full episode today, a lot to talk about. Some big news in the hobby we're going to get into, but want to start with a little what's on your mind and see what everybody's got going on today. So Tyler, let's start with you. What's on your mind this morning?
What's on my mind this morning is I've been thinking about cards I've sold along the way. And there's been a lot of chatter about the Star Wars kind of reemergence. And I sold that Luke Skywalker PSA 8 at a Dallas show. And it's just a card I wish I had kind of forever. I'm not a big Star Wars guy. Like the lore of Star Wars, I think is a little bit too much. It's kind of lost me. But like the OG Skywalker and Vader, it's fire. And so that is what's on my mind. I'm also back in my childhood bedroom. This is a paint around, not a leak stain. But I'm back where Card Talk all began, the home of Card Talk Live. And so I'm excited. We're going to get into a couple things that I'm not going to mention, but I kind of want to mention, but I'm not going to mention. And coming off last show, we had a little pregame chatter, but I realized Tom Brady is a Michigan man, which must be a real conundrum for Ohio State Patriot fans. And I'm just going to leave it there.
Lou, what's on your mind?
Yeah, especially for ones that claim to root for other teams in their conference. What's on my mind today? I want to say F1. I know that Ryan wants to talk about F1. I think my focus for this upcoming week is on one thing and one thing only, and it's F1. And it's a big, big weekend coming up. Max and Lewis are exactly tied right now, Tyler. Whoever finishes higher in this race wins the championship.
Can I hijack for 10 seconds and ask you questions? Okay, so we're going to do this for 1:37 p.m. too. We're going to put out a big article, but okay. I'm a fringe F1 fan, talking to you through a hypothetical. Yep. I listen to Card Talk. I've kind of been like, stop talking about F1, what have you. But now here we are. People. There's one weekend, right? There's one weekend. You don't need to care about the whole season. Some have been calling this, and I like your take, like the most historical finish for an F1 kind of season, individual driver season in rough memory, in recent memories.
Yep.
Right? So we have one weekend, two guys, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. Talk me through the weekend, meaning it's not just Sunday they show up, Saturday there's qualifier, where is the race? Give me a little bit of table set if I just want to watch this weekend, because it's just a more or less head-to-head race. One comes in third, one comes in fourth. Whoever finishes ahead of the other wins for the season, as I understand. Give me that so people can enjoy it in a vacuum.
Yep. So like I said, they are dead tied. I think it's 369.5 each right now.
Yep.
That's a wild pull from my brain. So they are in Abu Dhabi this weekend. It is probably like one of the most like electric from like a pageantry standpoint races of the year, and it's going to be even more now because it's the last race of the season, big day, etc. Max versus Lewis. There's 20 guys in the field, but really the only thing that matters in this race is who finishes higher between those two guys. I think the constructors is pretty much wrapped up now, right?
Yeah, Mercedes only needs 17 points to win the constructors.
Yeah, like I think Mercedes wins the constructors, but really like the only thing anyone cares about is Lewis versus Max. It's been a battle all year. Max tried to run him off the road again last weekend.
Multiple times.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Max just straight up just goes.
So that is, I was waiting. I was waiting for my moment. So that's the one thing this is where like I'm a novice F1 fan at this point. So this is
they're definitely going to try some shit.
This is where I would love to learn more. So for those that are listening in the audience that know F1, and shout out to the people that tweeted me last week about this because I asked a question last week. Why does Max, right, other than maybe like an asterisk title, why not when it's, Max or Lewis gets the pole, Max gets two, right? When the green light goes,
run him off the road.
Why not just ram right into his ass?
Because he's a madman.
So Ty, for perspective, from what I've been told, if they both do not finish, Max would win the tiebreaker, which I believe is number of wins on the year. Lou?
Yeah, that's right.
So if they both do not finish, Max would win. So from again,
real quick, let me pause for 1 second. Max's whole thing is that he's like his thing isn't that he's reckless. He would say he's like a hard driver, and his fans would say he's a hard driver. He's reckless. Like he does ridiculous shit all the time and like puts people in danger all the time.
Lewis, do you know off top how many titles he's won?
He has 7 going for his.
He has 7.
6
Is
in a
that the
row,
most
right,
ever?
6. Yeah, I think it's 6 in a row. That he's tied for the most ever, I believe. If he wins this weekend, he would go to the most all time.
He's won the last 6.
Pretty sure it's 6 in a row.
5 or 6. I know for
It's
sure.
insane.
I'll check real quick. Hang on.
And has Max ever won?
No, but he's young. If Lewis didn't exist, he'd be running away with this right now.
So we got the young upstart versus the old legend.
This to me, we talked about this
exactly
earlier.
Right, Ty.
I gave this take earlier. This to me is like Brady Mahomes.
So now I want to just take it into cards real quick. Rye, in the F1 space, we haven't really done this, blah, blah, blah. Topps 2020 Topps Chrome F1 is like the set.
So there's only like the 3 that I know of that I've been involved in are Topps Chrome Hobby, Topps Chrome Sapphire.
Was the first product for
I
Topps
actually don't
Chrome?
know that. Lou, do you know that?
I mean, there's been like stuff in Europe. There's
there's
European
Fire
stuff that comes out.
Like, that
Topps
stuff,
now. Topps Now is the first American release. That's like that main one with Lewis. I have it here. I could pull it out. So that was the first one, and then the first like, main release was like
the Hobby Shop release.
2020 Topps Chrome.
Gotcha, Chrome. I didn't know what came first, and then there's also Dynasty. I didn't know if Chrome or Dynasty came first.
I'm pretty sure Chrome came out first.
Gotcha. But yeah, so there's Dynasty, Topps Chrome, and then there's Topps Chrome Sapphire.
So Lewis has won 1, 2, 3, 4. He's won 6 of the last 7. 4 in a row,
Crazy.
6 of the last 7.
4 of 7. I thought it was 5 in a row.
This max variation is pretty fire.
Yeah.
Taking
Here's the thing. From the cards front, the cards are on fire. They've been on fire. There was a little moment where they kind of lulled and went down a little bit, and then they pop right back up. Right, remember that? And then they pop right back up again.
But you said they like dipped near the National.
Yeah, they dipped a little bit. I think there was just a lull between when the season started and when it started heating up again. And then they've popped back up again now. I think the interesting thing to look out for here on the cards front is if you're someone who's getting into it like me and you want to watch the prices, and one of my favorite things to do is watch prices. Number one, it's not as easy as you think because there's not as much floating around. So it's kind of hard to get a good feel for the
there
liquidity.
Are some people, like Lou, you sent me that profile the other day. Like there are some people that have a ton of this stuff that got in on this stuff early and are sitting on like real collectors that have some of the best collections I've seen of it. And that, like, to Lou's point, there's just not a lot of it. Like I did buy a Lewis Hamilton Dynasty auto, drove to Indy last week. I texted you guys about it. I posted it on social. So when anybody think I'm like pumping F1, I bought a card, and there's only one of them on that I can find for sale. There's one on eBay. It's a PSA 9 for $125K. There's none on Check Out My Cards, and there's none on Alt.
They all got scooped up. They were all sitting there. They all got scooped.
Do you, before I ask who you guys are on, Max or Lewis, I gotta imagine postseason we may we're kind of
so
in
here's what
crescendo moment postseason. Yep. I gotta imagine we
that
can
on
see a
IG.
little low.
The same exact thought. Go ahead, Lou.
So this is what I'm getting towards. It's going to be interesting because the season ends Sunday. I'm pretty sure they're going to announce the new season of Drive to Survive within a couple weeks at most.
Already got announced. Season 4.
What's the date?
August 26th, I think. Hold on.
It doesn't come out till August?
I saw it. I thought. Hold on.
The way that they're doing is essentially the season, and then they drop the Netflix recap of the season.
Basically. Yeah. And so this season, they're not following Max. So that's the interesting thing. Max refused to be followed for the show. So everyone's interested to see how that all goes down. Because Mercedes used to be the same. They used to not let people follow them. Now it's Max not letting people follow him. And if he wins the championship, they don't have the championship driver. That'll be kind of crazy.
And Max is Red Bull and Lewis is Mercedes.
Correct.
Okay. Who are you a fan of?
Lewis, aggressively.
Lewis.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Like aggressively. I have
Why? All class. Veteran,
yeah, like the coolest dude alive. He's like a knighted Englishman, and like he's the GOAT. So I have to get into it.
So Topps.
There's not a date, but this is what I saw.
Well, yeah, but yeah, that's from August of last year. I mean, when are they going to announce when is season 4 of Drive to Survive dropping? I think it should be probably like February or March.
Gotcha. So I missed that. That's
So what I was getting at was it's going to be interesting to see when the season ends from when they announce the date to the build up to the show releasing to what happens when because I would imagine everything's going to get crazier when the show releases, not even now. So the build up to the release will be interesting. There's always going to be a lull. It's just where is it going to come and how long is it going to last before the show comes out?
Yeah. And that's what we talked about, right? Is like to be careful if you're getting into this space because the season's about to end.
Yeah.
Like some guys might not return the season, right? There's going to be new guys coming in. Some people are going to lose their seat. People change teams. There's just a lot to play into it, right? You're not going to necessarily go out and buy a ton of Tom Brady autos the day before. I mean, Brady's a different, I guess, but just the season's about to end in 7 days. Like, how is that going to react, or how does that affect your buying? But
I gotta get something for
bro. Just watch this
long
weekend.
Haul.
Everyone I know who has sat down and watched a race is like, I'm in.
I've watched a ton of races. I just didn't buy cards, and I'll be real honest. I don't love Sapphire product.
It's fair.
That's crazy. I love Sapphire.
It's a fair opinion.
I don't love Sapphire product because I don't know why. It to me, it's kind of like the new Mosaic product. I enjoyed. I don't know. Once the Sapphire product came in and it was like so hot, I was just like, this doesn't really
They kind of overdid it
because it feels like it's an overdoing. But I wanted to tell you guys on the switch gears, but it is like F1. I just booked the fam. We're going to the Swiss Alps for the Tour de Frannnnce in the summer.
No, you're going to the Tour de Frannnnce?
And we're going to go to the number one stage, which is the insane Alp climb.
Really?
I'm going to go deep.
I think I might have to go.
The most in the mix.
Car Talk Live.
Be careful.
Family.
Yeah, we need you there.
From the Tour de France.
From the Alps. We're here at the tour. We can just be the dude on the grid beforehand. The guy's going by. How do you feel about the tour?
We could be the Martin.
No big signs.
No big signs.
No big signs. Don't.
Oh man, that's cool right now.
No, but another shift of gear here. I think we should talk about like who's leading the AFC East.
I feel great.
I mean, so the entire AFC.
So listen, shout out to my boy Greg. We were talking last night. We're obviously hardcore Jets fans. He said he hates the Bills more than the Jets, or more than the Patriots, and it's like not even close. And I was really confused by that. I have a deep-seated hatred for the Bills. I didn't realize. I hate Josh Allen. That guy sucks, and the coach sucks. So their loss last night made me very, very happy. I also love that Mac Jones did the ball 3 times. Like, cool, man.
Dude, oh gosh.
I mean,
I never saw this. I was not a big Mac Jones fan. I'm not still saying I'm the biggest Mac Jones fan. Like, it's outrageous, but it was nice to get a win on the road in Buffalo.
It was a great win. It was a classic Patriots win. Like Belichick, just like
I don't watch the NFL, but do they have like a fast like back that catches like 10 balls and you're like, why does this guy still matter? And
no, but they have a young guy who's just huge and just runs super hard. They always have
Stevenson.
That guy. Yeah, Stevenson.
They have a guy named
runs like
Stevenson
a monster
in the backfield. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, Brandon Bolden's still floating around somehow. It makes no sense.
And then I just want to get to some of these topics pretty quickly. I think it's worth noting. I know you guys saw it. It's been going around on social. Zion looking thick.
I'm defending all the big boys. Shout out to the big boys.
I believe if my memory serves me correct about my own personal self, I always believed that this is how it was going to play out for Zion. I think that the anatomy of a man occurs. And when I was like 14, I was like 7. I'm like 30 and like a 22-year-old body right now. LeBron was that way. Like when LeBron was young, he was still growing, like had a body to grow into. This man was a full-on father at 15. And it's hard to maintain that.
That's 100% right. That's the Embiid thing, right? It's just like a more advanced version of the Embiid thing. You saying when I was 7, I was 14 is an all-time quote.
When I was 14, I was 7.
Whatever. That's an all-time quote.
Bro, I was like 89 pounds freshman year of high school.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, Greg Oden, another one. Dude was like literally 41 draft night.
Yeah. Some guys are just not meant to be. Listen, he's still very young. He can get in shape. I think if he was motivated, he'd be in shape. I don't think he's motivated right now.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
that's the $1 million question.
It
Like,
was way more fun for him in junior year of high school than it is playing in the NBA.
He doesn't want to be in New Orleans. Like he just wants out. It's very obvious. So he's like, what's the point? Who cares?
Oh, this is the overtime. They're the
I
ones
just
that
realized.
really
By the way,
pretty much.
I realized 2 minutes ago we were in the same hat. I kind of want to change it off because it's kind of weird, but I'm gonna let it rock.
you're
We're
just
wearing the same
backwards, so you
hat?
can't
Yeah,
tell.
you got the backwards hat. Oh, yeah. I mean, like, look, I don't know why, but I feel like half of my card collection is overtime cards.
Yeah, somehow I have more overtime cards than anything.
And then last but not least, again, as we get more into the questions here in a second, the college football playoff. As an Ohio State fan, is probably the worst case scenario you could have asked for. The two dominant SEC schools, again, don't like the SEC. I'm not all about like, hey, I like Vanderbilt, so go Alabama. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Excuse my language. Like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Don't excuse your language.
So like that sucks. And then there's also that team up north, which I hate more than both of those teams. And then there's this other team in Ohio that thinks they would beat Ohio State on a neutral field, but we all know that wouldn't happen.
That's definitely true.
What?
They definitely would.
Ohio State would win or Cincinnati would win?
Cincinnati would be, yes.
Okay. So at this point, I'm like, go Bearcats for sure and go Dogs. So
I got a question. So, do you root for Michigan to win every game before you play them in the season?
I want them to close the football program.
Got it. So every year you hope Michigan is 0-6, 0-7 when you play them.
Doesn't that hurt your game?
You're just talking totally sideways right now. I mean, you're just like
if Ohio
State got it. So when both
every other
teams
game,
were trash,
that game does not matter.
When both teams were trash in the early 2000s, whatever that window was, you enjoyed that more?
As long as it says win next to it, that's all I care about. How and win.
He just wants to win.
The rationality is
he wants.
I just want to
every player on Michigan to be hurt, and then he wants to kick them when they're down. That's what he wants.
Yeah, I like close the football program. That's all I want.
Damn. So you don't have a rivalry game to watch every year?
No, that's fine. We'll just be better.
You got it. You'd enjoy the game not existing more than it would.
Because it would be a win
more than losing the game.
Yeah.
It would be a win in itself.
So is that what's on your mind? Because we never really did the.
That's true. We never got to what's on your mind.
F1 breakaway. Where do we stand with you today, right?
Yeah, that's what's on my mind. I mean, no, really, like Lou talked about it, but Reg and I sat down on Sunday and watched the race, and I watched more F1 this weekend than I did NFL, and it's been like that for the last 4 or 5 weekends. Like, I mean, when it's been on, like I just enjoy F1 so much more than the NFL at this point. Like, again, I talk about it so much. Like, it's just so cool because like Reg actually enjoys it. And she's like, yeah. So cool. I got a Christmas list from Reg the other day, and it was like one of the things on there is something F1 related.
Nice. You got to get her one of the sweet hats, dude.
I don't know
sweet,
about those.
Like Mercedes-Benz hat with the logos, like AMG, whatever.
I was looking at Mercedes hoodies the other day.
Yeah. Real quick though, when you are watching, because I know like the start is obviously like a big exciting part and like how they get out of the gate. What are some of the things that you're paying attention to? Again, for someone that's just getting into it, like something that they can pick up to kind of pay attention
trying to like, again, the big thing is just like trying to understand more, trying to learn more, like with every race, right? It's, I'm trying to, the one thing I want to learn more about is like DRS and like what that does, how that works, like where that becomes a competitive.
And what does that stand for?
Lou, it's like something.
Is it the shifting?
I don't even know enough about it to explain it. Like,
cool.
It's definitely
there's 20 racers. There's 10 teams, 10 car makers that each employ 2 racers, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And it's not 10 car makers. It's 10 teams because I think it's like most of the cars are like Honda or like Mercedes and stuff like that. Like,
DRS is the drag reduction system.
I have to turn on the cat videos because Zipper's out of control. Hang on.
Opens an adjustable flap on the rear wing of the car in order to reduce drag, thus giving a pursuing car an overtaking advantage. Interesting.
I actually didn't know that. That's cool. That's I learned something new. But yeah, and when Lou comes, I don't know if Lou can hear us now. I don't think he can. But
Deep in cat videos.
Yeah, deep in cat videos. But the one thing was interesting on like Sunday's race was like the tires, like soft tires, medium tires, hard tires. Lewis had hard tires on, passes Max towards the end, like 6 or 7 laps to go. And then Max's medium tires kind of like he doesn't have the same pace that he had. And he goes from like 1 second behind to like 7 seconds behind, and like how that affects the race.
And I love that. Like, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. I guess baseball to a bit, but like every track being different, totally different, and the amount of strategy that they need to prepare for like the pinpoint execution week over week is pretty wild. Like, I guess in baseball, a home run isn't a home run the same in every park, but most basketball court, football field, tennis, like you're playing on the same. Tennis, you switch the surface a little bit, but I think that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, this will be like, again, like Tyler, you alluded to it, but like if they're 1-2 this weekend when they start, like it's gonna be wild. It'll be mayhem on the first. Like, I mean, I would anticipate
getting
that.
out.
Yeah,
I'll say this: nothing Max has done so far leads me to believe that he's like big enough for this moment. So,
and it's also just, dude, it's like they get off there and they talk about it, and Lewis is like, dude, just throwing these little subtle jabs. He's so good at interviewing.
It's like Europeans like arguing with each other. It's like all subtlety and like sub shots. The whole thing.
It's like he's out of control.
Big fan of that.
He's
Big
out of
fan
control.
of that.
The best time.
It's like the interviews in Premier League soccer when the managers come, and it's like all just like so deep. They're like 4 layers deep into ripping on people, and people don't even realize it.
Max literally ran Lewis off the road last week, and then after the race said, "Yeah, some things happened that I don't agree with." That's the first thing he said.
That's amazing. So we're not doing college football playoff kind of like predictions yet. We got some time.
No, I don't think we should.
We're gonna let it marinate for a little bit.
It really hurts me.
The NFL and the NBA both seem in like the kind of like periods where it's just kind of like, all right,
who cares about
the holidays? I think we're starting to see the end of LeBron.
Yeah, it's over. By the way, same thing with Brady. He doesn't look great either.
Are you ridiculous? He leads.
You don't even
NFL
care about Tom Brady, Ryan. Shut up.
He has 35
You don't even
touchdowns.
care about him.
He's a Michigan
You literally said 5 minutes ago he wasn't in your top 5.
Man.
You just said we're seeing he's the MVP front runner at this point.
He looks objectively worse.
Silliest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Him like he's your
he looks
girlfriend's
objectively
brother
worse
or something.
a year ago.
And he's still the best quarterback in the NFL.
That's fine, but he looks a lot worse than he did a year ago.
You just jumped in like someone was making fun of your family, and
a year ago when he won, Tom Brady has 35 touchdowns this season. That's more than
great.
Green Bay, Baltimore, Cleveland, Seattle, Miami, Las Vegas, Washington, Denver, New York Jets, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Carolina, Chicago,
touchdowns than the Jets,
Jacksonville, Giants.
He wears a Michigan shirt.
He leads the league in passing yards and touchdowns in his 22nd season. Fuck out of here.
He wears a Michigan shirt under his pads.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
You don't care about him, number one. You're not allowed to care. You're officially, I'll never listen to another thing you say about Tom Brady ever again.
You're not
the
allowed
fact
to care
that he's
about
not
him.
in your top 5 athletes is fucking insane. So nothing you say means anything to me about Tom Brady anymore. I'm not done. And also, he's allowed to be a lot worse year over year and still be the MVP.
He won the Super Bowl last year. He's worse, brothers. He won the Super Bowl.
He's worse today than he was a year ago. 100%.
This is just sad coming from a true Buckeye fan that would never like anything that's come out of Michigan.
I hate you.
I mean, this guy went to Michigan. How could you can't even
right in your mouth?
Okay, we're moving on after that ridiculous take. Let's get into some of these Facebook questions.
I don't care. It's just pretty obvious he doesn't look as good from a year ago. I don't know what to say.
Neither do the Jets, brother. You thought they were going to win 7 games.
Oh, this is a fun one. Simmer down. We've landed on the fact.
And Ty thought Tannehill was going to be a top 10 QB.
We've landed on the fact that Ryan likes Michigan, man. Let's keep moving forward.
All right.
We have a great question.
Disgusting.
Settle in. It's kind of
this
a
is
fun
from Michael
one.
Davis. This is from the Facebook group. It says, if you could get any card for your PC for Christmas, who would it be and why? Let's go crazy. Money isn't a factor. Thanks, guys. On the podcast.
Cristiano Ronaldo Mega Cracks PSA 10
number
is my 1A. Yeah, number 137. And my 1B would, right, The Randy Moss refractor you got was fire, by the way. But it would probably be a Gretzky card. Gretzky OPG.
I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably pick the first thing that comes to my mind is a superfractor Altuve, like Bowman first or something like that. Auto. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
That was a really good question. I honestly spent most of the end of like the last 6 months of the year buying the cards I really, really wanted in my collection. Tom Brady contenders, a Mickey Mantle rookie. Like those are the two like my grail cards. The card I wanted the most recently, I just bought the other day, the Lewis Hamilton Dynasty.
Yeah, that's a great pickup.
Like that was my goal for the last half of this year was to really find some cards I really could enjoy. Really wanted to pick up some PC stuff. I think at this point, like I've talked about, man, I don't know. That's a good question. A high grade Jim Brown 58 tops. That would be near the top of my list.
I like that.
That would be. I have a couple lower grades. I would like a nicer grade.
Do either of y'all care much for Wayne Gretzky? Does he do anything for you?
Yeah, place in history, like cool card to collect, but like I'm just not like dying to like it's not near the top of my list.
Yeah, Mike's off.
Oh, that's classic. It's Zipper's fault. I would view Gretzky on the same plane as like Jack Nicklaus to me in terms of like doesn't ultimately move the needle for me, but like I understand their place in history.
Yep.
All right, so Cody Maiden asks, when grading companies like BGS and CSG that offer subgrades optionally, aside from the cost, is there any reason not to get the subgrades given that they are companies' main differentiator advantage against PSA or SGC? Cost is typically the big thing.
Yeah.
Does it add enough value? Like, are you trying to grade cheaper cards where you're trying to save every dollar and just get a bunch of stuff graded? Or is it a more expensive card that is worth paying the extra premium on to have it on there?
What's the premium?
I have no idea. Absolutely no idea.
I would be my gut says, and I could be wrong, my take is that the majority of non-subgraded BGS CSG stuff is from 2018 and before. Just before this market kind of like really went, and grading was a lot about encapsulating as well and like keeping for personal collections. Could be wrong, but I bet the amount of non-subgrade submissions have been going down. But other than that, I mean, only cost would be my thought. I don't see.
So for no subgrades, I think it's like an extra $100. For with subgrade, I think it's like an extra $100. That's what I'm looking at.
Now that cost is also peak when it was like really expensive, Lou. They haven't opened up a lot of their recent grade. I think they opened Express the other day, but I think for the most part, most of their service options are still down. So it'll be
premium
interesting.
One, right?
What?
All they have open is premium, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, premium is just $250 a car and then $125 and no.
It'll just be interesting to see, like, let's say, they scale at the same rate PSA does. I'm sure it won't even be a fraction of that. But if they were to scale and could take the volume, would that price ever change?
Yep.
All right, Dustin Bunker says, any future in NASCAR cards?
The only interest I've ever had is Bubba Wallace because he signed with Jordan and their team, and he's since won his first race. But no, because like I'd rather get a mid-level F1 guy just because of the money that they're pouring into the media and customer acquisition as opposed to NASCAR. NASCAR is huge. Just doesn't interest me.
I think the debate I look at for this, maybe I'm naive on this, I don't know NASCAR enough, but to me it would be like the MLS versus like the European markets or like just something outside of the US, like how MLS compares to bigger leagues that again, EPL is one of the first ones that comes to mind versus like F1 is a global sport. NASCAR is more in the US. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know enough about NASCAR and like the history of the sport other than like some of the key names, right? Like is Dale Senior a buy because he doesn't have a whole lot of autographs? Don't know, but just not educated enough in the space. Doesn't interest me at all. I grew up watching it like my dad used to watch it. So I watched races, but it's not something that I just have a ton of interest in.
Two things. One, shout out to NASCAR Radio. He was the first person to tell me about NASCAR cards and show me what to look at. So shout out to him. I would say that IndyCar, I think, is more of an MLS to F1's Champions League. I wouldn't put NASCAR in that same thing. And then I would also say, like, I think NASCAR is like, we say this all the time, and it's not as easy as F1 made it look, but like NASCAR, if there was a show about NASCAR, I'd be locked in on that. Like, if there was a real show about NASCAR, I'd be locked in on that because, like it or not, like NASCAR and like the fans and like the events is like some of the most like Americana shit there is. Like, it's a big deal to a lot of people, especially in the South.
For sure.
And like, it's definitely exciting. Like, I'd be watching that show. I'd check it out, that's for sure. And if someone caught my eye, I'd be in the same way I was in with F1.
That's a really good take.
If, right? That's the if. If there was a thing. Like,
if it exists.
The demand and attention and awareness around all things NASCAR is going down.
There was 0 in the US though for F1. It was not there 2 years ago.
That's why people, like, unless you're just personally collecting as an investment standpoint, it's like F1's growing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Down. They also drive around the same circle on the same track.
It's not as exciting for sure, the actual sport.
And globally, the brand of Americana is in kind of a tough spot.
That's fair.
Markets are global, increasingly.
They are and they're not. It's definitely still U.S. is like the primary driver of cards.
Fair.
All right, next question. Ray Rodriguez said, "Who are you buying in the entertainment industry right now? For example, singers, actors, etc."
I want to check out. Ryan, have you been tuned into the thing that Carvin came out with the entertainment cards? Yeah, like the weekend one he did.
Yeah, I have not paid super close attention.
Me either.
Big fan of Carvin and his work, but I have not paid a ton. Like, I would be lying if I thought I paid a ton of attention to it.
The short version is he started this new card company where it's inspired by not inspired by, it is created by the person who created Exquisite. I think what was the other one he did, Rye? He did Exquisite, and there's another one as well. I don't remember off the top of my head. I apologize.
I would have to look. I'm not.
Yeah, so we'll skip over it.
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's some big iconic sets.
It's super iconic sets. He's releasing new sets now featuring like athlete entertainers and things like that. The first one is with The Weeknd. I haven't been super tuned in, so again, apologies, but like that stuff is interesting to me. If they're gonna make like premium cards for entertainers, that I think has a ton of upside. Because people love anything from artists they love.
Yep, I would agree. I had a conversation with somebody about this, about like what would it be like if, there was like a Prizm or a product for, entertainers now, what that would look like if you're pulling like Justin Bieber or Drake or Taylor Swift gold Prizms and, the potential that could have in the market. I'm not actively buying, and like, I'm not looking for any of those guys in particular at the moment. The one I've been the most intrigued by is Bieber, right? I have a Bieber autograph now. So that's one I'm more intrigued by. I know Kim K is a really popular one. There's other people on there.
There was the Beyonce floating around this past week or something.
Goldin posted that. It's a Pop 2 PSA 10 Sports Illustrated from 2007 rookie. So Jay-Z's been a big one you guys have talked about for a while. But there's no one I'm actively like pursuing.
For me, and these are on my list. I think they're going to be impossible to get. And yeah, it's classic and right on the nose, and people can say whatever. But the Gary V Top set, I think is going to go down as pretty special. But both the Randy Johnson and the Derek Jeter Gary dual autos, I think are like,
I own one of those
crazy cards. Which one do you have, bro?
Jeter.
You have, and it's of 5.
Mm-hmm. Jeter Gary.
Where'd you get it?
It was pulled in a shop south of us.
Wow. And you just did the deal. Mm-hmm, raw, or did you grade it?
It's definitely raw. I might have it over here. I'll look for it.
It's one of my all-time cards.
What?
Someone gave Gary one.
Yeah, I own a Jeter Gary.
Someone gave Gary a Jeter Gary at the 2019 National. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, I own one of them.
I apologize if
I want that one and the Randy. I think Randy Johnson and Randy Moss are both, maybe that's the name Randy.
Randy.
Just to me, two dudes that were like different. I don't know.
All right. Next question. Adrian Square Garden says, what are your thoughts on Goldin's Netflix show coming out? Any shot it has a similar effect to F1's Drive to Survive had in terms of bringing an overwhelming amount of attention to the game?
I think it depends on how the show is done. I think that'll be the primary driver on that front. Ken's obviously a character, like an interesting dude. So that part I'm confident in.
Yeah, agreed.
Isn't it the same people who do
Pawn Stars?
Yeah, so like that show doesn't lend itself to being like a serious worldwide
think that's what it
smash
is.
like that. I think so too.
But Pawn Stars is a huge show. Sneaky.
Is it like a internationally acclaimed show? Like I'm talking about, like, is it? Here's what I'm saying: is it going to be like a lighthearted, jokey show, or is it going to be like a serious show about cards?
To me, Pawn Stars and NASCAR are similar. Deep Americana.
What?
Deep center of the country. I think Pawn Stars got a shitload of people going into pawn shops and looking for stuff.
That's possible. It's definitely a big show.
The thing I think, again, so like as somebody that creates content on a regular basis, I think the thing I see the most, right? If you're asking me, hey, what do people look for in content? Is dollar signs, right? They're looking, they want to know what people are buying that's expensive, like what big deals, big boxes, the money, the things that like people do and buy, like that is intriguing to people. I do it on a much, much smaller scale than anything Ken Goldin is doing. And I think there's a lot of potential there with Ken having some of the, depending on what they show, right? Like Lou mentioned, it depends on what that looks like. But the fact that you could show $1 million sales and some of the rarest cards, like I think if it's done well, it has a ton of potential. So yeah, it'll be very interesting.
Look, there's going to be a couple clips from that show that go viral. It's going to happen. It's going to be Ken holding some, fucking card that's like a $10 million card. And it's like this basketball card, like that's going to happen a couple times. It's just a matter of if it catches or not.
My thought is it's going to be much bigger for introducing, having people outside the hobby understand and realize what's going on. So I think it gives good foundation and longevity. But I think for people in the hobby, it's going to be kind of like, whatever.
I'm going to be watching that.
I mean, let's be honest though. Like we shouldn't, like, I'm not sure we should say that. My man Giannis posted pictures of $5 Bobby Portis cards, and every single person in the hobby reposted it on their story.
That's true.
So like, I'm not sure we can say like, hey, if Ken Goldin has a viral moment, that the hobby won't be all over it, because when Giannis posts base cards, everybody's like, hey, this is crazy.
You just compared Ken Goldin and Giannis, but
I'm talking about viral moments where cards go viral on social outside of the card world.
And you're talking about the best basketball player of all time and Ken Goldin.
Look at Lou's face.
That was a little aggressive.
Did I say all time? I meant like
you did.
Right now.
Yeah.
I meant like right now, like current best basketball player. But he might be the best basketball player.
All right, let's slow down. All right. You want me to read this one, Ryan?
All right. Now, the next question is from James Zacadoni. Hopefully I didn't pronounce that wrong. What are some bold hobby predictions for 5 years from now? What does card manufacturing look like? Any new technology running things? What grading company is dominating and are any others gone? And new categories and hobby popping off? Celebrity cards, esports, cricket. Wow. So 5 years is a bold prediction, right? Because, I talked about this the other day. I was on an interview and I talked about how 5 years ago, I remember walking around the National with Jimmy, Kentucky basketball cards, where he was buying Jordan Exquisite autos for $2,000, right? So the market changes a lot in 5 years. 5 years is a long time. I'm definitely interested by the idea of the attention fanatics can bring to cards. Having it in convenience stores and baseball games and on commercials with athletes. I'm excited for that potential. I would be curious to hear your guys' takes on this, Ty.
I think it's going to be in a very healthy place. What does card manufacturing look like? I think that the product release calendar is going to be dialed in. I think that supply chain stuff is not
real quick. Dialed in for like
dialed in, meaning like we're in a place right now where you don't even know what's coming out when and who's on what. Blah, 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 blah.
So the dates
I think
will
that
be the
whole
dates.
thing is going to be tightened up
Focused.
5
Okay.
years from now.
Agreed.
Like sneaker calendars, sneaker releases. Like I think it's just going to be much more ability to follow, deliver on time. Expectations are going to be set. Expectations are going to be met. I think you're going to have a new product matrix. I do believe Panini and Topps brands will still be in existence and in play. I do believe that to be the case. I think from a card manufacturing standpoint, maybe you'll see a little innovation, like a new kind of Prizm-ish thing. From a printing, new technology running things. I do think you'll see more of a StockX, a roll up from a ComC, Star Stock, etc., where you'll have a major platform, and that might be eBay that does it, but a major kind of platform that both does like IPOs and where you can buy on the first like kind of retail, but also have secondary built right in. I think cards will be everywhere when it comes to in retail hobby shops, both in prominent stores like Ryan's, but also in offshoots like Lids and Walmart will get like good end caps and all that. I do think that there will be categories popping off, such as celebrity cards in esports and cricket. And I do think you'll see more digital assets playing in that world. I think we'll see a consolidation of fractional offerings. And that's where I'm at. But I think healthy. We'll be in a healthy place 5 years from now. I think you'll see some sweet new events as well, more akin to a complex con than a national.
Lou.
I think, I agree with a lot of that. I think there's be a lot of things that are different. I would say, in terms of like one bold prediction, I think this might upset some people, including someone on the show. I think the majority of the sales that take place I think the majority of card sales will take place in a direct-to-consumer environment.
I don't disagree.
Meaning blasters, cellos, mega boxes, I think, and hobby as well, I think will primarily be sold through a Fanatics own environment.
I agree with that, actually. So I think that's the interesting point here, and we've talked about like we mentioned it last week with Sports Card Nonsense's interview with Luber. Is he talks a lot about that, like, hey, we want to have hobby shops, we want to do like specific releases for hobby shops, like hobby shop only product. And then again, I talked about it before, like I heard the Ruben interview and I just don't get the same vibe from them. So I think that's where it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I'm not one that's as optimistic that it's going to be like, hey, yeah, we want to have a lot of hobby shops with a lot of product like it is now. I don't anticipate that being the case, but it'll be interesting. Got a lot of time left to see. So
a lot of time.
Yeah. Andrew Perry says, is Mac Jones better than Ryan Tannehill today?
No, he sucks.
Ty.
You want me to answer that question? Is Mac Jones better than Ryan Tannehill today? No. Mac Jones has someone named Bill Belichick that coaches him on a daily basis. Don't get confused.
How many games would the Jets? Serious question. How many games would the Jets win if they had Bill Belichick?
7, 8.
No, more than that. 100%.
You think more?
I think like
we had a lot of injuries and somewhat lack of talent, but they'd be a 500 team.
Yeah,
they got like 2 first downs in the first quarter through the first 7 weeks.
They ran 3 plays in the third quarter on Sunday. Like I just believe that like ultimately that he is the difference maker and getting the most. By the way, the Jets have squeezed a lot of talent out of a pretty talentless group this year. So like I won't kill him. I'm not going to kill him for that for sure. I think that Belichick could do things to a team that no one else can. Like I think the Jets would win like 10 games. I'm not even joking.
Leadership can't be replicated.
He sets the tone. It's a real thing. Yeah, the Mac Jones being the most graded card. Mac Jones, Donruss, most graded card at PSA last month.
Those are going to
Very
drop
funny.
from fucking 23. Man, I got to watch the language today.
Nope.
Those are going to drop.
Allegedly has
Those are going to drop from like 2,300 to like $200 in the next 3 months, and people are going to be like,
It's going to be awesome.
Somebody's going to get stuck holding the bag.
Remember Baker Mayfield?
He stinks. He's terrible.
Terrible.
You know who else kind of a fraud? Rise guy Joe Burrow.
No way.
Interesting. Another good. Oh, they got dusted this weekend. I was going to say interesting win. They like kind
he's
of
not
bad.
bad. He's not bad.
I think he broke his finger mid-game.
No, he's not bad. I actually like Joe. I meant the Bengals more. The Bengals and the Bills. I think it's fraud.
I would take Joe Burrow on the Jets in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, 100%. Cool factor alone.
Yeah, cool factor alone. We'd be back. We'd have sweet jerseys.
One quick answer before we go on to Player of the Week.
You like that, Ty?
You got to buy one person's cards for the next 3 years. A QB under the age of 25. Who you buying?
Herbert.
Herbert throws the crazy smoothest ball. My man,
his little half delivery is so wild. I think he's the lowest floor, right? That's why I thought about the
65-yard bomb
or highest floor.
It's like me throwing like paper in the trash. He's just like.
I think he's pretty. I feel pretty secure in who Justin Herbert is as a player. I think I would take Herbert over like even a Kyler because there's so much risk variance with Kyler. If Cliff could walk away tomorrow and like it can get really weird for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Joe Brady got fired. Will fall from grace.
Yeah, that was
the hottest thing in the world.
That guy took the fall. Listen, shot out 14. It's 14 all day. Some troubles in Carolina this year. Joe Brady getting fired is the wildest thing ever. He's going to go to like some
aspect. He was like the hottest asset in all of coaching.
He's going to go to some college program. He'll go to LSU next year or Alabama or wherever, run the offense for a year or two, and then get a job. Like that guy's going to be
all right. We've got to move on. Play of the week time. Shout out to everybody who submitted questions via Facebook.
Oh, we have play of the week now.
I'm sure we will do some more of those as the holidays get closer. But we're going to jump into play of the week. We'll have to go a little quick with this. But this is going to be, play of the week. Play of the week is brought to you by eBay, your number one stop for all things cards and collectibles. All right, so first one we've got is Dubtown_cards on IG. He says, hey, my play of the week. About a 2016 Japanese Darkrai first edition holo for my LCS at $2. Looked it over while at the shop and sent it to Nash Cards for SGC grading. It was $25 to grade and it came back a 10. Today, I just sold the 10 for $269.99. It was a pop 1, making my total profit $182 after fees, grading, and the purchase price. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Love the play.
$2, $269.
Yeah. I think SGC.
I can't believe you got
SGC, I'm liking SGC, by the way, more and more by the day.
Tuxedo time.
Yeah, tuxedo time. I like the play. Strong play.
I can't believe you got $270 for this.
I can't believe you bought it for $2.
It's a great job.
Great
job, Ryan.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, killed that shop.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
$2. That's wild.
I like the play. I like the poke. Staying at it.
Japanese grade. Style. I mean, less than what, $30 into it. Came back at 10, $269, 10% fees, $27.
$200.
Yeah, you make it $200. All right.
All day.
That's pretty good. This one's from just GB card. Yeah, GB card 16. Whoa.
Precious metal was the next kaboom. You know, right?
Oh, I love this. Wait, I'm fired up right now. This caption's great.
He said, purchase the Kirill PMG for pretty cheap because the seller made a costly mistake by misspelling his last name. Love the card because he has big potential, but listed on eBay to fetch some offers. Ended up selling for $600, so I made roughly $350 and then moved that money into a McDavid Star Rookie PSA 10. The PMG will be missed, but I'm very happy with the McDavid. Have a great week, guys.
These guys' last names are so tough. That's why that's a big one.
Yeah, he's missing a Z in there. So it's a Kirill Kaprizov red precious metal PMG. He bought it for $157 in September and just sold it on November 1st for $600, spelling his name correctly.
Both hockey and precious metal gems have taken off.
Yeah.
They've gone to another place.
There's been a real uptick in PMGs recently. Have you noticed that, Ryan?
What'd you say?
There's been like a big uptick in PMGs recently.
Produced or demand?
Demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Crazy.
Yep.
It's like I think it's drafting off of
Kirill?
Kaboom.
I think he won Rookie of the Year last year.
It's a real guy.
Really?
Yeah, dude, just
okay, so that makes sense then.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
he's so
confident.
good.
He was I think he was supposed to go back to like Russia, but ended up signing like a really big deal. He's a
I would have graded
stud.
this. No,
PMGs are
I see
really hard
Jay
to grade.
said
They're
that.
notoriously hard to grade. They chip. I don't know if the new ones are affected that like that, but the old ones, that's one of the hard parts. They chipped pretty easy. Had a lot of like
I
surface
guess just like
healing.
out of 100, I would just grade it. Like it comes back at 6. Who cares? 7. I was 6 is tough. 7, 8. Who cares?
Yeah, make it $350 and
Yeah, it's true too. $350. 350 is pretty good.
6 weeks ain't too bad. Shout out to GB Card for the play. All right, Jay, next one.
Oh man, Jay, tough.
Jay was sleeping at the keyboard. All right, get the next one. It's from TJ's Polls. He said, back in May, I took a trip to California and drove up the coast with my family, drove up the coast with my girlfriend. End of our trip, we hit up a few card shops where I picked up some cards, including a 1960 Mickey Mantle Venezuelan Tops and a PSA 1. I know it's a low grade. I know in a low grade, the Venezuelan variations hold a significant value as they were printed on cheaper quality cardstock and meant to be glued to a scrapbook. I asked what the guy wanted for it, and he said $30, so I gladly purchased it. Fast forward a few months, I consigned the card with the seller on eBay, and it sold for $398 last week. Net consignment fees and original $30 investment, I made $311, just over 10x my original investment. Not the most money I've made on a flip, but definitely they're up there percentage-wise. Excited as I will be using the proceeds to fund the future PC purchases. Thanks.
That's awesome. I've never seen this card before.
Never seen it. I didn't even know Venezuelan cards like that existed.
Yeah, who knew there was a big push for Tops baseball in Venezuela in 1980?
In low grade.
Yeah, low grade is great. I love a good PSA 1.
Yeah, I need to be better at low grade.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm looking for. I want like a PSA 1 like Lewis Hamilton.
No,
you don't think so? I think that's going to be harder to get than the 10.
No, you just buy one and crease it in half, and then
I don't want to crease it. I want it to have like wear issues. You know what I mean?
Like,
you're
going that way?
Like I might pull this one out and just start playing with it during the day, and then submitting it eventually.
All right, next one. Oh, Yamwax. Yamwax knows what he's doing. Let's see what we got. So he said Andre the Giant's 1973 rookie, which I needed.
Oh, he pulled it out of the magazine.
Comes out of a magazine. Last fall, I went looking for the mag and found 3 as low as $86, but got all 4 for $300, or all 3 for $400. Rob England has collected more of these than anybody, and he agreed to cut them out for me. I graded them at the National. I got 2 8s and 1 7. I gave an 8 to Rob for helping me, kept an 8 for my PC, and sold the 7 last month at auction for $17.25. So I netted $700, scored a low pop Andre to keep, and made a great friend in Rob. That is wild.
That's crazy play.
This is wild.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. He kept one, right?
Yeah. He kept the 8, gave the 8 away for Rob for doing it for him, for helping him out. So well above a $2,000 gift. Kept a $2,000
shout out Rob England.
Kept a $2,000 card for himself and sold. Wild.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Yamwax is the king of finding like the most random stuff.
So shout out to Yamwax for the Elon Musk rookie.
Yeah, that's fire.
Shout out to him for that. I mean,
he has the weird Pokemon, the Tony.
He knows about all of the like stuff nobody knows about that like will eventually pop off one day. That's what Yamwax knows.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to follow somebody, follow Yamwax on IG. I'll for sure plug him because his
what a plug.
He's got that stuff. So it's a neat follow.
You got that sauce.
Yeah, it's a great play. I'm a big fan of this play, actually.
Yeah, that's good. That'll be tough to beat.
All right, people outside like having a party in the hallway over.
All right, so this is from Jacob Flux, and it says, "Here's something for my play of the week: 1966 Marvel Daredevil." And this is from Facebook, so shout out for the Facebook play. It says, "Bought a 1996 Marvel Daredevil bought card end of July. Seller originally was asking over $300 and took my offer of $150. In October, I listed the card on eBay for $1,200, or best offer. We settled on $1,000. By the way, it's a PSA 9. It's a Pop 18. PSA 10 is a Pop 4. Wow.
Facebook submission, by the way.
I like a good Facebook submission.
Wild. Daredevil PSA 9 low pop. I would have never even been thinking to look for this card.
I love the 66 Marvel set. They are very, very weird cards. I looked into them when I originally got into the 1991.
What's so weird about them?
They're just like interesting cards. Like they're from the. I love like 60s cards, and I think this is like a weird one because it's like Marvel and it's very comic based. I love when they do like this has like the full art. It looks like from like a comic page. I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, they're super cool. I'm a big fan of them. 150 to 1,000 is crazy though.
Yeah, if Yamwax didn't have that play he had, this would probably be my pick because this is pretty cool to be able to get a card for that. But for me, this is a no-brainer.
I got to go Yamax as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
he just got buried anyway.
Doesn't matter. But I was gonna go Yamwax also. Shout out Yamwax. Big
shout out to
POAP
Yamwax
for the boy.
Play, the Andre the Giant, finding the magazines, having the guy cut him out, have Rob cut him out, giving Rob a gift after getting 2 8s. That's pretty crazy. Then selling one and being up a couple $100 with a new friend and a card to hold.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about this Andre card, it's from 1973, but if you just handed me the card raw, I'd be like, this card's from like 1845. It's like the weirdest looking card of all time. It's completely like black and white. It's brown. It's crazy. I love it.
The Andre the Giant, right?
Yeah, look at it. Like it looks so old.
Did you ever do like those projects back for like social studies where you took the paper and you put it in water?
Yeah,
like seawater, and then you like the edges and make it look like an old piece of paper. Like
that's what that looks like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good call. That's exactly what it looks like.
So congrats to our friend Yamwax. He is gonna win. Tyler, what are those called? Those POAPs?
They are. Yeah. He's gonna get one of the POAP NFTs that kind of links us all, and then we're gonna be able to start doing fun raffles, giveaways, chat rooms for those that are part of the Play of the Week winner circle.
I'm gonna say this now as we end Play of the Week. I don't know. I have no idea what Tyler, Lou, and 1:37 p.m. have in store for those. I just have this feeling.
Not Lou, that's for sure.
6 to 18 months from now, it's going to be an advantage to have one of those. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what they've got up their sleeve. I am not involved.
Dinner at National in Atlantic City, potentially.
I would just have
it'd be a real shame if there were some cool events.
Real shame.
Knowing what those guys do, and I know some of the stuff Gary's done with his NFTs. I have a feeling you'll want to own one of those. So make sure you guys continue to check out Play of the Week every time Jay takes submission on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Lou, what you got there before we move on to latest launch?
Just want to point it out. I was fired up. This was meant as a plug for our Facebook group because I bought this in our Facebook group. Shout out to the Facebook group for sure. I'm a big fan of those cards. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. I don't want to get into it too much because I don't have more information, but just saying I'm fired up. I got it. And I'm trying to figure out if PSA will take it for a submission.
Very cool.
Oh, they might not.
Well, because no one's ever submitted it before, so I don't know if
you might have a guy. You might know a guy there.
I know. I kind of trying to figure out if I have the guy who can help me or a guy who can find a guy. You know what I mean?
What about the guy? Our guy.
The main guy or the other guy?
The guy. Like the guy.
I asked the main guy. Didn't get the answer that I wanted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not his day-to-day.
No, it's a little below his pay grade, I think.
Understood.
All right, let's get into latest launch. So for those that are listening, if you have not paid a ton of attention to the release calendar, December is going to be wild for releases. There is a ton, that's putting it lightly, a ton of product. I believe there's like 40 releases for football, basketball, and baseball this month. There's a ton. This week we've got Panini 1-in-1 basketball, which is 2 cards in north of like $1,350 or $1,400. Spectra football, Topps Chrome Black baseball, Heritage High Number baseball, WWE Heritage Wrestling, and Game of Thrones Iron Anniversary Series 2 all come out this week.
I'm into that Game of Thrones, to be honest. I need some Game of Thrones in my life.
Spectra is a big football release. It's a pretty popular product every year. It's a great breaking product. There's a ton of hits, numbered cards, etc. So that'll be huge for breakers. Breakers will want that. 1-in-1 basketball. It's got some cool stuff in it. It's also 2 cards, favors breakers. Demand should be pretty high on that. Topps Chrome Black baseball and Heritage High Number I don't know as much about. Lou's more of a baseball guy, but anything Chrome at this point seems to do pretty well.
I did also want to mention, I didn't get to bring it up earlier, I forgot. Did you see the Prizm football situation?
Yeah, so this is tough, right? Like I'm going to give my honest take on this.
Yes.
So somebody tweeted a picture of Prizm football and said cost on these this year is $236 a box.
That's for
And
stores, right?
that's like if you're a breaker or if you're a card shop. If you have a direct if you have an allocation through a distributor, that's what the cost is roughly. You pay like a 3% credit card fee or something like that, but roughly $240 a box. And suggested MSRP is like $325. And someone's like, hope this means the prices are going to be low. They're not.
Yeah, that's not what that means at all.
That's not like I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying like it doesn't matter what the cost is, right? If Prizm boxes were $5, whatever the market decides that, as long as breakers are buying them and can rip them and people are searching for Mac Jones Prizm golds, I just don't see any way in hell that Prizm football on release day is not $1,200 a box. I just don't see it.
Can I ask you a question? And you might not be able to give me the answer to this, and that's okay. What was the allocation price last year, if you remember?
In the past, it's got an MSRP of about $120, and typically has like the allocation cost is typically about $120, and MSRP is about $150. That's what Prizm was normally. So, and again, I'm not saying but how do you? So again, I'm not trying to like bash on people like, hey, I want it to be cheaper. I want it to be cheaper too. I would love to rip a case at $3,600 a box or $3,600, right? That would be great. But like, how do you get that to happen? Right? Like, make it available to the public at $325 if Panini wanted to. I don't anticipate they want to, right? They don't release. I mean, because the MSRP on a lot of things, like MSRP on like 101 basketball is $250. And it's being sold at $1,400. So one of the ways to do it is either have Panini do it or make more of it. And I don't think you want to make more of it. That crushes, resale value, hurts the overall value of the product. So I don't think I don't know. I'm open to ideas on this. Again, I'm not trying to bash anybody's take on it. I don't think it's not going to happen. Prizm football is not going to be anywhere near $325 a box. And I don't think it'll be anywhere near $800 a box. I think it's going to be $1,200, $1,400. Prizm is the product. Like Prizm last year, 2020 is like $1,550, $1,600 a box. Like there's 5 rookie quarterbacks in the first, like in the top 15. I realize Trevor Lawrence isn't living up to potential. Zach Wilson sucks.
Doesn't matter.
Fields doesn't look very good, and Lance hasn't done much yet.
That was mean.
Mac Jones is good. Jamar Chase is good. Like Brady's got golds in there. Mahomes has got golds. It is what it is. I just don't see any way that Prizm football is not $1,200 a box on release day. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought Baker Mayfield and the Browns were going to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm not the expert on giving picks here for sure. I just don't see any way that Prizm is not $1,200 a box.
Yeah, I don't think you're breaking anyone's heart to find out that Prizm's going to be over $1,000 a box at least. Like, it's just the way it is now. So it was cool to see. I'm glad it was there though, because that means it's coming soon, right? Like that's good.
Yeah, they announced it last week, and the estimated release date, I believe, when I saw it last week was January 26th.
Crazy.
A week before.
I've been quiet because I've been going deep on. It's that time of year.
Yeah, 126.
Harry Potter art box, and the Wizards of the Coast Harry Potter PSA 10 Harry Potter looks like it's got a little juice to it. It's holidays, it's prime for a Harry Potter marathon.
How far away are we from like that reboot? That's definitely
January
coming.
1st. Oh, the macro reboot, definitely coming.
Well, what's January 1st? What are you talking about right now?
January 1st, there's a special where all the cast is getting back together for the first time, and they're doing this like really fire thing with getting everyone together, doing it up
that
proper.
I knew about, but the actual reboot is probably like 2 years away.
I think we got 2-3 years.
Yeah.
There's been
That's
chatter.
coming.
It's definitely happening around Hollywood. It's definitely coming. But speaking of another random thing that we've talked about, did you see the first shoe fell in the Mbappe to Liverpool, Nike, LeBron, Liverpool wears Team LeBron
No, but
jerseys.
tell me before we go. That's very interesting.
The Team LeBron Liverpool collaboration was announced, starting with a unique capsule and a one-off jersey. Soon, it aims to rival the PSG Jordan relationship.
He's still fed up, right? Is there still like some chatter on that front?
Mbappe?
Yeah, he was unhappy
He's
with
out.
the messaging.
He's
right?
he's done after this year. He's out of there.
Huh.
Ty, real quick, I value your opinion on this. Luke gave some thought. What's your thoughts on the Prizm football product take? I'm just curious. Like, you see Prizm coming out at $325, $800, $1,500. Like, let me
Around
get
a
this.
grand. I see it coming out around
Lou,
a grand.
where do you think it's going to release at? Release date. Let's say release date is here. Prizm football.
I can buy a box on eBay, 1,200.
Yeah, I agree.
Around what it was last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Ty,
1,200 is right.
Last take before we go. I know we got to wrap off here. Shout out to everybody that made it this far. Ty, bold prediction before we get closer. Transfer windows coming up. Who's going?
It's the
Haaland?
middle of the year. Haaland, the deal might get done, but then he'll pretty much stay at Dortmund on loan for the end of the year. Is kind of how that happens sometimes. I don't see any major splashes that I want to kind of talk about in the immediate. I mean, United just brought in their new manager. Hopefully we see a little turnaround there. Declan Rice. But like in the Prem, at least, I don't see any super big signings happening over the window. But I don't want to speak out of turn. Nothing that's jumping to me right now. Yeah, Holland, they missed the World Cup. Played out as it would.
Yeah,
Cristiano Ronaldo is just past 800 goals, and the dude is on fire.
All right.
I'm going to be late to a doctor's appointment.
That's all I got, guys. See you guys
I gotta
next
go.
week. Peace.
Peace.